Hi, soldier. I see you're in here. Hey, soldier. All right, Jim, I should say. I see you had a live. Hey, Joe. Is that Joni? Welcome in. Good afternoon. It's 12:30 here, so I don't know what time it is in your neck of the woods. So, or it's just actually 9 actually. Well, good to see you guys in here this morning, or this afternoon, I should say. We're going to be turning something a little bit different today. Something I've done, but I've never done this way before. So I'm trying something entirely new. So if I screw it up, it's nice to have friends in here who understand I'm screwing it up. And you maybe can see me how I can get out of it. So we're just going to try something a little different today. I just didn't want to make another bowl, so I wanted to make something different. So we'll see how this goes. Are you up for a little adventure? I don't know if you can see this piece of wood well. I'm trying to highlight it a little better here. Excuse me. This was a piece of wood that was donated from the family of one of our turners that passed away, and I'm not quite sure what it is. It looks a little bit when I trimmed off both sides. It looks a little bit like birch, but the bark was not white. It was dark. In fact, it was almost black. It looked like this, and that's paint, by the way. So this could have been birch bark, okay, and that's what I'm kind of thinking it is. But I had to chip off all of the bark beforehand, and I trimmed both sides because I had little cracks. Well, in the 2 days since I trimmed it, it already cracked again because this has about 26% moisture content. In fact, I want to check it again today just to see what it is. Well, now the ends are now saying about 15.5%, but the other day when I cut it off, it said 26%. So it's gone down some. 16 on the sides, and it's 14.3 or so right here. So it has gone down some since I cut it. That was a pretty fresh cut, I guess. So that's part of it. So it's a semi-moist piece of wood at this point. Who else we got in here? Okay, so you guys are up for a little bit of a challenge today, right? So we're gonna try something different. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know what these are going to do. These little branch pieces that came out the sides. It's got some flat spots to it. It's relatively round. It's interesting because one side has all sorts of cracks to it and some more developed, and the other side did not develop any more cracks. It looks like it's got some really nice marbling or figuring in here. So I'm hoping that this works. So I'm also waiting for my new mask to show up, which hasn't shown up yet. Isn't it sideways? Yes, it is sideways. You're absolutely right. And I'm going to bring you in for a much better view here. And you'll see we are turning sideways. Yes. And what we're going to do, it says here in the fine print, is we're going to try and make a tenon here. And we're going to flute this up and out like this on both sides in a very strong fluting action. And then when we turn it around, we're going to cut in that way. So it's going to be a very wide bowl. It's going to look like this, is the idea of the bowl. Okay. That's the idea of what I want to look like. Whether we get there or not is anybody's guess. But that's the idea. Okay. So I've already tested this. I think it's pretty much in balance. I think I can go up to about that speed for now, just at least to start. I was hoping that because the wood is somewhat wet and moist, that it would be a little bit easier to turn. We'll see. Still not getting any indication as to exactly the type of wood, but kind of rough there, but we will see. It may not even be the kind of wood that I can do this to. I'm just kind of starting out and seeing here. I think I will take at least one pass just to make sure I'm as even as I can be here. Just to make sure I'm working even on both sides. Okay. So I'm pretty even now. So now I can kind of come over here on the side. You see all this hair. It's going to be kind of an interesting thing to fight for a while too. Okay. Trying to catch up with you here. Yeah, 1020 lathe is plenty. You're not going to make too many bowls more than 10 inches deep. I mean, mine's a 12-15. I can do 15 on the outside and 12 on the inside, but you can't get your your tool rest or your banjo underneath it at 12 inches. It just you have to kind of be to the side of it. You can't be underneath it. That takes up about an inch or so. Hey, Alex, you made it. Welcome to your lunchtime. Thank you for spending some of your lunchtime with us. So we are working on this piece that I'm assuming may be birch, but I can't swear to it. We do have birch around here, so that's a possibility, but I can't really swear to it because it was painted over, and I'm just going by some idea of what it might be. Anyway, so we're trying to get this wing started here first. So I'm going to go up here a little bit, and I'm going to speed it up just a little bit now too. This is where it gets fun. I think you can start to see the profile we're getting here. Okay, I have to move this over just a little bit because I can't quite get to the end here. So. I have to go lighter strip here. See. Okay, we got it pretty much of that angle that I want now. And you can see the pit is going to be right here in the middle. And we do have cracks that are still in there showing, but I think we've avoided most of it. Okay. So now I can clean up this bottom a little bit. Okay. I'm going to have to take this support away from the back end. You'll notice I'm using my actual Laguna tool rest today, and there's a reason for that. It allows me to use this rest a little better, and I can get in here and utilize it. So, like I said, I was not going to get rid of my original equipment, no tool rest. I just wanted to kind of, be able to use my other one, which I find to be much better for most of my items. Okay. I think, let's see. We're actually going to have to do a tenor that I don't like to use. I don't like to use this type of tenor. I don't think I get as good of a purchase on the wood. I just want to kind of pre-fit here a little bit. Okay, I can come in. I just don't think this wood is going to be strong enough to hold it that way. So this is what I'm going to do. It just looks like it's too rough. I hate to cut away some of my wood, but I'm going to have to do this. See how easily that comes off? My original plan was to have an actual tenon, but I think in order for me to have the strongest thing, I'm going to have one that opens out from the inside. Just the only way I can see doing it. So what do we got going here? Let's see. And uses the bull. Well, I'm using the same gouge for both the inside and the outside. Actually, this is a bowl gouge, a 5/8 inch bowl gouge. I got it at about a 55-degree angle, and I can do the inside and the outside with it just fine. Yeah, ask all the questions you like, and be happy to answer anything I can. I just have to kind of pay attention to what I'm doing here too. But feel free, and please hit the like button. We got 107 people in here. Let's please hit that like button, okay? Or subscribe if you'd like. Also, okay, I'm going to clean this up like I always do. We'll just clean that out. And Alex, by the way, if you wanted to put your channel up here, or actually, if anybody would like to put their channel up here, feel free. I have no problem with that. But if you want to put your channel address up there for others to see, and please support your fellow wood turners. That's one of the goals here. Okay, so please don't stop on my account when it comes to that. Okay. Some of my tools got moved around the other day, so I'm still trying to learn where I got everything here. Okay, let me. Now we'll use a spindle gouge here. Just because it's really easy to handle. And very quickly get that hole going. And come in here with my skew. I think I need to widen this out just a little bit, but I'll start with that just and I got a little, see it chipped out there too. I don't like, that's what I like about this wood. It's really, it seems really soft in places, and that concerns me a lot. So but it may not have a really good hold. So I'm going to give it a little bit more than I usually do, as far as depth goes. Yeah, a little bit deeper than I normally do. Sorry if I'm hitting that with my head. I appreciate it. Sorry about that. And just about perfect. Just, just a hair more. I'd rather sneak up on it than I have to it. You know? Oh, see that? Look at that. See, that's what I mean about tear out. Look how that's tearing out. I just barely went in there with a nice clean cut, and I got that horrible tear out. Because this is going to take some banging on the inside, and I want this to be able to hold it. So we're going to have to really, really, really be careful here, I think. All right, I'm going to smooth out some of this the scraper. I think we can go up and speed a little bit more. Now, where the wood is solid, it works really good. On these other parts, not so much. And I need to really scoop this up some more, I think, to make it look good. So I'm going to go at this with the gouge just a little bit more, because I think we need to have a little bit more definition here. And that gives a little bit more scoop to it. Okay, now I can come back with this one and clear that out just a little bit more. And here, I think it needs a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's a little better. Okay. So what do you think so far, guys? You doing okay? Now this is going to take some sanding, and I apologize to all you guys who hate to watch sanding, but you got to sand this now. You can't sand this later. You got to get it sanded up. So To all of you that hate sanding, I'm sorry if I lose you. Please hit the like button, by the way. There's only 17 likes so far, so I'd like to get a few more than that if I can. Hit the like button or subscribe to the channel. We do these for your pleasure and benefit. I am really concerned about this being able to hold. I don't know if it's going to or not. We might have something flying off of here at about 600 RPM or 800 RPM. I'll tell you, normally on a project like this, you could spend up to 2 hours sanding and getting this end wood to where you want it. You honestly could. So I'm kind of cutting it short a little bit by doing it with you guys here live. Oh wow! Well, thanks, John. I appreciate that. That was not necessary, but I do appreciate it. That's very nice of you. Well, you can always make a lathe out of a drill or a drill press. If you think of a drill press as being a lathe on its standing upright, you could actually do a pen, not easily, but you could do a pen using a drill press, or take a drill, set it on a table with the drill part coming out, make yourself a wooden system like this, a bed, and you could actually make a homemade lathe pretty easily. It'd take you a couple hours to set it up. And you can do small turning projects like I said, like a pen or something like that. I don't think I would do bowls with it necessarily. The drill doesn't have the power for that. I love this hair. It looks like somebody scared it. Yeah, I know. See, I always see the viewership goes down when I start sanding. But guys, sanding is a part of the job here. Sanding is a lot of part of what you do when you're turning. Because you have to smooth out the wood. The end grain is not going to smooth out just by turning it. At least this end grain isn't. Because it's too much. It's too angled. End grain is like it's like trying to get all your grass to line up perfectly and not bend over when you cut it. And as you know, if you've ever cut grass, it bends over when you cut it. So that's kind of what happens here. You get tear out on end grain. No matter how sharp your tools are, it's just inevitable. So we're going to have to spend a couple minutes sanding this. And Alex, I'm sorry if you don't get to see it all. You can at least come back maybe later this evening or something and check out the rest of the video. If you have to go up, I know because you were at lunchtime, so I have a feeling my battery's starting to go here. I'm going to reverse sand this a little too. Reverse sanding also helps you get into those crevices and get the wood to kind of lay over and sand down properly. But this is something you can do with a branch. When you have a branch, it's not big enough to make or you think it's not big enough to make real bowls out of. This is another method of dealing with a branch. Over here, this side again. I'm getting to what I'm going to have to probably be able to stop and put a little finish on just so you can see what it looks like. I think the wood's going to pop pretty good when you put some finish on it. It's rough, but it's smoother than it was. Okay. All right. Well, that's about all I can get on that one right now. I'll go to the next one just to give it a real quick buff, and then we'll go from there. Down here where the solid wood is, it's really good. It's not turns very nicely. It's beautiful wood right there. So when you get on this end grain, you have a problem. Okay, so there we go. That's where we're going to stop on the sanding for now. Like I said, if it were me, I would be sitting here for another hour. But to be fair to everybody else, and we got 150 people in here, please hit that like button. I do appreciate that. Yeah, thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're trying to get up to 5,000 subs. We're at about 4,530 right now, or something like that. So, we'd like to get up to that 5,000 mark before May, our 1 year anniversary, anyway, or April. So, if we can get up there in the next month or so, it'd be great. So that's why we keep doing these lives and keep trying to teach and press and stretch a little bit. So let's I think today I'm going to use my tongue oil on the outside of this for now because I want to strengthen that wood a little bit. So we're going to get in here. I think you're going to see the color change a little bit. You start seeing some of that that I was seeing in the wood. See that? That sucked it right in there in the middle. Gotta get some more. Problem with end grain is it sucks it right in, but it's not going to dry right away in there. If it would, that would be great because tongue oil actually will strengthen the wood. It'll get in there and harden like a resin does. So it actually strengthens your wood. So ideally, if you were using tongue oil, you would do this and you go let it sit for a couple days, come back and give it another sanding. And by then, the fibers are going to be a lot stronger inside and it's going to be a lot stiffer and a lot easier to sand and also won't tear out as much when you go to doing the inside of the wood. So it kind of works on both levels. So that's the real great thing about tongue oil. But in a situation like this where we're kind of speeding along and doing the full bowl in one sitting, we don't quite get the advantages of that. But I'm still going to get it down in here. And I might even use a little of my CA glue in here too. The CA glue will help strengthen those edges a little bit and maybe help it hold on a little bit better also. So I'm going to let this sink in places. The outside of the bowl is the fun, easy part. It's the inside of the bowl where everything gets scary because you no longer have as good of a hold on the wood and you're still spinning fast, but now you're spinning on the inside where you have also a little less control of the gouge than you do on the outside. You have more control of your cuts on the outside, and you have more control. You have more hold because of the thing that you're using to hold it with. So anyway, it does make for a much prettier piece of wood, doesn't it? I'll kind of get you over there a little bit, but a lot of stuff going on. But you see, it looks dry. You can see where it's two different colors in here, and I can't even with my brush, can't seem to coat that in there. And that's why I need to go back and sand this because those little pith marks are not going to look good in the final turning. So that's what I was looking at. I wanted you guys to be able to see it too. Okay. So we are going to wipe this. Hmm. Let that soak for just a second. And I'm going to get my CA glue here. And we're going to try and help this just a little bit. Okay. Now I got to get that wiped so it doesn't make a drip. Okay. Now I'm going to hit this with just a little bit of accelerator. Okay. And that will at least strengthen that just a little bit more. It says here in the fine print, right? The theory is good. The application may not be. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I'm a professional sketchyologist. Yeah, that's kind of true. That's true. Hi, Bethany. Stay-at-home mom. I do all the what my husband. Okay, great. Yeah, I know. It's always a pain when your workshop's in a mess or you can't get to it because of other things. Um, this workshop has been in a constant case of moving around for probably about 10 years. If I showed you the pictures I did back in 2008 of how I set this up and then how I changed it again and changed it again and changed it again. It's gone through many iterations to where I think it's about where it's at now. My wife took over half of it, so I had to change it again. Uh, Turning reminds you of sewing. You know what reminds us of sewing is my wife does a scroll saw, and she has an Excalibur. She has a really nice scroll saw. She does a lot of scroll saw work, and um, scroll saws are exactly like sewing. You know, you have to let the needle do the work, and sewing you have to let the sawed blade do the work when you're using a scroll saw. So, hey Jesse. So guys, I think we got the outside. I'm just kind of letting it dry here a little bit, but I think we can go ahead and take this off of here now while it's drying. This is always the scary part. Is now we're going to release it to Mother Nature in a sense. And that's always scary. So this is when things could start flying in a minute. So bear with me on that. I had a couple long screws, and the other ones were all short screws for this one. These are the only long screws going into the wood because they're kind of off the edge of the curve. All the other ones are just 1.25 inch, I think, inch screws. And they were just kind of in the first layer of wood. As you know, the Cambria layer underneath the bark is usually very soft wood. You don't get to the harder woods until you get into the middle of the wood. So, be aware when you're if you're putting a faceplate or anything like that on, or even a turning screw, is that be really careful of the fact that you may have something screwed in there, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's into hard wood. Okay, it could be very soft wood, and it could be a big problem. So, okay, so we got that. We put the chuck on here. I'm gonna mount it up, and I want to see if I can do that. Be as cognizant of it as I can to where those rough spots were. Yeah, I'm going to turn the speed down and just see if it's running pretty true. And boy, it's running very true. That's good. That part's good. Okay. I don't want to over tighten, but I want that to have a good grip because everything that counts on this thing now is the grip. Now, let's see. I guess I want to sneak up on this a little bit, like so. Now the idea here is to just barely take a little bit of this off. I got obviously got to get past this bushiness, and quite frankly, I think I'm going to try and take as much of that off with my fingers as I can because it's just going to come flying off anyway. All this, and quite honestly, it looks like it's got mold in here, so I'm really going to be putting my face mask on here because I don't want to be breathing in mold. It's not good for the lungs. It's not good for the shop, actually. I got the shop filter. I got two shop dust filters on, so that helps. Even though we don't have a really big shop, we have a shop that's big enough to need those filters. So I'm wondering if I can bring this up just to begin with, just to kind of give it a little bit of support and then back that out. I think that might be a good thing to do. I'm going to sharpen this before we get started. And use my normal grind. Now this one I might need to use a different gouge with a different grind, but I'm trying to show that you can do the whole thing with one tool if you have the right grind on it and you learn how to use it properly. You don't have to have 15 or 20 different tools. You actually can do it with one. Now, yes, I did use some others just for expediency, but wasn't necessary in the first place. Hey, Rich, how you doing? Good to see you here. Okay, so we made a wing on the outside of this, which I think might be birch. I'm not 100%. We were still kind of playing with that the other day. And now I'm going to dive into the inside and see if this holds on without flying off across the room. I got my protective thing back here. I've got my mask on, so if it does come off, it doesn't hit me in the head. We're going to run this up to speed a little bit. Okay. I'm just going to very lightly right here. Now the outside edge is right here. Just trying to get below that hairy undercoating there. What's going along? Okay. So we got most of that early wing stuff out of the way. I have to, I'd have to chisel that off. I don't know. Let's see. That's a branch right there. Oops, going to great. Just cut myself. Don't cut yourself with good safety measure right there. Don't cut yourself. Okay. Anyway, long day at school today, and then came home and cleaned the shop for a while. For tomorrow, okay. Yeah, make sure you guys check out Soldier Farms tomorrow. At what time is that going to be? It's in the evening. You said, do you have a time yet? Sorry, I got to stop my bleeding here for a second, so bear with me. Okay. Sorry, just putting a little pressure on the blood on the wound for a second here to stop it. Yeah, brand new carbide blades will do that every time. Yeah, you got to be careful with them too. But you can tell I did sharpen the blade of my gouge, right? Because it. Okay, you're going to go about 5:45 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Great. If anybody else has any ones that they're going to be doing soon, please let us all know so we can jump on them. We're only up to 34 likes, so if any of you out there watching could hit that like button, it would certainly be helpful. I think I'm going to have to put a little bandage on this just so I don't bleed on the wood. Always good to have your first aid kit in the shop. That way, you always have bandages handy. In fact, when I ran my finger through the bandsaw, well, I didn't run it through, it went through the bandsaw. It was really handy that I had a first aid kit so I could apply some small tourniquet sort of to it at the time. It did help out. There we go. All right. Sorry for that little interlude there, folks, but hopefully that'll stay on and hold for a little bit. Okay. I love it when they say flesh toned bandages. Yeah. Anyway, so we got the curve here started. I'm going to have to work on tapering that down and then start going into the wood. And I don't want to have this plug here, so I'm going to have to abandon this so that I can do this. Sending hearts. Great. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I need a candy striper now. Just don't tell my wife I did this because she'll tell me she can't leave me in the shop alone. You know. So Now what I'm doing is I'm eyeballing down here so I can see the curve from the outside and try and match it on the inside as I go. So it's a little hard to do, but I'm trying to make it very thin. I'm encountering a lot of chatter, and I'm trying to figure out where the chatter's coming from. It could be just the chair out, but it's like if this is the chatter, I think that I'm getting. Where there's missing. Good news is here we got pretty solid wood. I'm going to check my connector, make sure everything's on there good and tight. I don't want to keep squeezing it out, but I don't want to ignore the vibration and then find out later that it comes flying off. So, speed of something like this is nice and slow going. So, I will say to the new people in here, please hit that like button, subscribe. If you want to become a member to the channel, that would be helpful too. It does help us defray some of the costs of doing all this. But it's not necessary, because sometimes I make stuff available to the members earlier than I do to other the general public. And once we get enough members to make it viable, we'll start doing a few lives just for the club members. So there's that. But for now, right now, it's kind of minimal, and it's 99 cents. Somebody told me they got charged $1.50 or $1.55, and I'm not sure why. But it's set for 99 cents. Okay, let's take a look and see what we got going now. Okay, now you can see we got our curves going. We're going to be going down. We're going to have to take out all of this. So there's going to be a little bit of work involved here. Well, Rich now that Rich is going to be a certified pro. And by the way, congratulate Rich. He may soon be a certified pro instructor. So congratulations on that. And so you see, us wood turners, we have more than one skill, right? We have more than one skill. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's making very thin shavings, mostly because it's for such a short period. You can see there's some built-in spalting in here, natural spalting in the wood. I have a feeling this might have been in the water for a while. That may be where this black or whatever it is, mold or whatever came from. But there is a little spalting in there. I still don't think I still can't 100% say this is birch. Oh, ouch! Got a little close. I may take myself apart piece by piece if I keep doing this today. We're going to be getting down near the pith here pretty soon. Let's see. Here's the pit. We're here. Where we got about another inch. We're going to be right in the core, and then we'll be going past the core. I have to be mindful that I'm trying to make a swooping down kind of motion here, so as I'm slowly removing wood. Here's some curls for you. That's some nice shavings. Let's see how we're doing here. Yeah. think I need to. Okay, I want to see how my shape is coming here. Okay, getting better. Still a hump in the middle, of course, but that's going to come out. We are going to get a winged bowl out of this eventually. You know what they say on people at the golf course? Some people were born to golf, and some people were born to drive the cart that goes around and catches all the practice balls. That would be me. I'm the guy who would be driving that little caged cart around. Don't get me wrong, I can hit a golf ball. I just don't know where it's going. When I hit a golf ball, I need someone to be a spotter so they can tell me where it went. And then I looked straight down and realized it only went 3 feet in front of me. Now, I will say something. Some people ask me, why don't you use a Forstner bit and cut out the center here with a Forstner bit? Well, two reasons. One, I wasn't sure how good of a hold I had here. Okay. But the second reason is because when you have a hole here and it goes way down, you tend to kind of scoop down into it, and you lose that angle that you're trying to get at as you're going in. I'm trying to work this down as I go. And it looks like it's about time to sharpen again. This is pretty wet too, by the way. I'm curious. I'm going to get the moisture. I'm curious as to how moist it is inside here. in the center. Let's kind of take a peek. Yeah, see, we're back up to that 24% that I told you before. This is very wet wood, which makes it great for doing this kind of turning, in a sense, because it will work. The wood will work out, but it is a little bit slower going process also. So allow me a second to sharpen this again. Hopefully I won't cut myself again afterwards. But on there like so. Please hit that like button if you can. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. I would hope that I could get at least 100 likes on a project like this. And we're up to 45. So we have to double that plus a little bit more. Well, you guys are writing some pretty long comments here. I'm assuming I don't need to be a part of that part of the conversation at the moment. I gotta add something here. I like to listen to or watch reactors on YouTube, reacting to rock songs and so forth. And I was watching some guys the other day, and they were watching Led Zeppelin's Kashmir, and the guy commented. He says I recognize Robert Plant and Jimmy Page. He says, and I think that drummer might be Bonham's son. He says, but I don't know who the keyboard player is. He says it might be just somebody that they picked up. And I'm thinking, Mike, and I wrote a comment saying, I'm sorry, but to disrespect John Paul Jones, the guy who does all their arranging for their music, plays bass and keyboards, and generally kind of holds the whole product together, that's a little too much. And I've gotten like 250 comments on my comment, all agreeing with me. I understand people don't know who people are, especially if they're younger. I get that. But before you make a comment like that, it's worth spending 10 seconds on a little bit of research before you make a comment like that. He's like the fourth Beatle, he's the guy nobody remembers. They remember the names of the other ones. In fact, well, I don't even know who Jason Bonham is, who's the son of John Bonham. But it's sort of like when you're trying to name all 7 dwarfs and you can only remember 5 of them. And he's the one name you always seem to forget. And it's really a shame because he is such an integral part of the sound. He backs up Jimmy Page so much. Because in theory, he's the only other musical instrument. He is the other musical instrument in the band. So it's kind of important, except for the voice of Robert Plant. Robert Plant voice they actually do use as an instrument, in the group. So I just kind of found that interesting. Well, we're starting to get down here a little bit now. We're going through the middle right now, so I'm kind of getting a little cross action as I go. I got to be a little bit careful here because here's the pith right here. So I'm getting a little bit of tear out. Yeah, my thumb can go right in there. So I got to get past that crack safely. One way to do that is don't present much of an angle. Don't come in like this. Come in at like 9 o'clock or about 2 o'clock or something going the other direction so that you're not presenting much of a cutting edge, just the tip. Okay, let's see where we're at now. I'm past the crack, but I'm still in the center. But now I'm getting circle all the way around. See, so that's why when I'm turning now, I'm getting circle all the way around. That's why it's going a little bit faster. There's not as much banging going on in there and so forth. So that's the good news. Good. Let's seeing where we're going here. Okay, I can come out a little bit further out here, not much. I'm keeping this very thin. Now this is going to warp some. I don't use traditional tools. Yeah, you're using mostly carbides right now. I know, and we could do this with carbides. We certainly could. Well, I can't go any further in that way. I'm going to have to change. Uh, Wow, that's good. That's good. Okay, we are now to about here. I've got about another half an inch or so to go. I think I'm going to have to change tool rests. And I'm not sure which way I want to go with this, but I'm going to try this one. I think this will work better for me. Okay. Go too high. Lower it a little bit more if I can. Okay, I think that'll work. If I clear it. Okay. This is a little bit harder to use. But it does get the rest up closer to the work. Whew. That took a ton out right there. That took a lot out. Okay. It just really feels awkward being out here because you don't have anything backing you up on the back side. You have to just use your hand. There's not a lot of purchase right here. See? Lucky enough to be raised by parents that didn't give into societal norm of technology going from when I was small to no internet to now. Yeah, well, the brain's a funny thing. It's like any other muscle. It has to be exercised or you don't reach its full potential. I don't make a big deal of it, but I am a member of Mensa. Um, for what that's worth. It doesn't mean that you're smart. It just means that you have the ability to acquire knowledge and that your brain can function on certain different things. And everybody's ability within an intelligence quotient are completely different. For instance, some people might be a savant at music, but they can't add or subtract. There's other people that are generalists that can do a little bit of everything. I'm kind of a generalist. I have a very wide range of interests. certainly a master of none, but it allowed me to change careers more than a couple times and master that career. And I'm kind of happy with that. So, everybody's intelligence, everybody's brain use is a little bit different. And in fact, in some ways, the internet has closed the gap a little bit on those people that didn't have the intelligence to do something and those that have the ability to grasp things right away, because now, in a lot of cases, you can get caught up to speed pretty quickly simply by utilizing the information you can find on the internet, if it's good information. That's, of course, the other intelligence quotient is what is it that you're using to learn from. After all, garbage in, garbage out, right? I want to see how deep I am here. I'm right to there, and I know I've got a little bit. I've got a little bit more room on the bottom. I think it might be time to use my scraper here on the sides to kind of get this cleaned out. Take a little of that out with the sandpaper, but I want to get as much of that out there with the scraper as I possibly can. It's starting to come together a little bit, guys. It's starting to come together. I'm going to come out here so I can kind of work on this a little bit. See if I can. What I don't want to do is lose the wing now. Yeah, I'm going to have to sand that a little bit. Let's see, I am right here. I think I can go a little bit deeper. Yeah, soldier, I heard you were. I saw you the other day. You were trying to use the wood tone kind of idea to figure out how thick your wood was in places. That was a very good idea, actually. Very good idea. If you hear it ringing just a little bit, you know that you're in that sweet spot still. I think I'm going to have to rough the rest of that out with the sandpaper as much as I would not to have to. Let me see here. If I can get in here with this. Okay. I'm going to stop there. I think that's a stopping point. Nice. Good. Let me see if I can do some sanding from here. Get the rest of that out of there while we talk. Whew. Lots of. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to knock us out of the picture there. My fault entirely. My fault entirely. Boy, I got a lot of this dirt down here, or this sawdust down here. Cuttings. Okay, so I'm gonna have to sand this. I'm gonna have to use the rougher sandpaper first on this part, I think, just to get it to where I need it to be. The good thing is that tenon held. Yeah, the coffee. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about the coffee break the camera was taking, but I was working through the whole thing. I promise. Because sometimes you can't look up from what you're doing to see what the camera's doing. You know. I'm gonna change batteries here. See if I get a little bit better power out of another one. Yeah. I have to go around these sides here. Take that. When you really want to be careful because you don't want to lose all that hard work you just spent trying to save the edges of the wood here. You like that? I just did. That was my own stupid fault right there. I could have left that dark. I think it's better to bring it up to the. There's that. Now this part. See, I got those ridges in there. I got to get those ridges out. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can work those out with the gouge, but I'm going to have to try because they're just not coming out with the sander. So I'm going to have to be very, very, very careful here. I don't know if that's getting it or not. Right there. Right there on the end. There, that's a little better. Sometimes you just have to get back in there and do it some more, you know? You don't want to. This is going to take a little time, I can tell you. I'm starting to make progress. Starting to make progress there. Yeah, when you get waves in the wood, it's really hard to get them out. This one, unfortunately, because there's such a gap when it's coming around, you're going to get little bounces and gaps in the turning. You're going to have to go back and fix. You can't just take them out with the tool. That's what sanding is all for. And in fact, I've had some where I used a palm sander. Time for dinner, Tim. Tim, thanks for being in here. I appreciate it. And thanks for giving us your part of your afternoon. And hopefully you have a good dinner. And you know what? Come back later, Tim, and you can just go to the end of the video and see what the final product looked like. Or if not, I'll also probably show this on Thursday on our live on Thursday. Kind of let people see what it looks like then too. I appreciate those of you that are still in here. Kind of wish we'd have had more, but I think this was a fun turn. It's certainly come out better than I expected it to. Yeah, we're starting to get that cleaned out now. I switch hands. I get the hands getting. It doesn't look like we're getting 100 likes on this video, but I'd like 100 likes if we could. So if you've enjoyed watching this, or if you think what I'm making is pretty cool looking, remember this was just a 5-inch branch. It was 5 inches like this, and it was about 10 inches long, about 9.5 long, and this is what we turned out of it. So sometimes you see a branch, you don't know what to do with it, and here's a good alternative. And I'm using 80 grit, by the way, and that's how little is coming off of this. I'm gonna clean this off a little bit. Always keep one of these handy. It's really good for removing stuff off your sandpaper and giving a fresh fresh sandpaper. You know what? I just need to get a new piece of sandpaper in here because it's just there's just I've worn it out. I basically worn it out. That's This is what happens when you do a lot of sanding, right? Okay, this might actually be almost too aggressive now. Let's see. Yeah, boy, you can tell the difference. I should have changed that out earlier. That's doing a much better job. I think I can apply this on the outside too a little bit. Oh yeah, that's much improved. Okay, I'm going to use this on the outside here, see if I can't keep some of that out of there too. This will probably get gunked up. I'll probably have to clean it out. I got to clean that off. Okay. There we go. That's starting to clean that out. Unfortunately, I put a finish on the outside here, so it kind of gunks it up just a little bit. So I have to clean that out of the sandpaper every once in a while. But this is really clean up that outside that's pretty rough. Good. I know you can't see it right now, but this is going to make a big difference on the outside of this bowl. I knew I was going to have to go back and sand it some more, so this is going to make a big difference. where it's going to get dirty again. Right. Ooh, lost my sandpaper. There we go. The only way this is going to look good is if it's really smooth. So I'm just going to take the extra time it takes to get this done. Well, what this sell for? Oh, hey, Harry. Um, I'm not sure. Again, everything is based on the market that you're in at the time, right? That's always the key. What market are you in at the moment? What's everything else going for? But if I can get a good shine, a good finish on this, I would say it could go for $60, $75, somewhere in that neighborhood. But it could end up going for as little as 20. You just never know. And honestly, I'm more into a volume I am lately than I am doing anything else. I got so many holes because we've been turning so many on this channel that I'd probably be willing to give it away for less than I should, just so I don't have to take it back home and find a place to store it. That being said, I'd like to use as much as I could for it. So, yeah. This is all 60 grit. I'm just going over this with 60 grit. And trying to get it a little smoothed down. And I'm gonna take this one off and I'm gonna replace it again. Do some final cleaning sanding on this and see if we can't finish this thing out. So I appreciate you bearing with me. Could still use more likes if you guys are so inclined. I could use some more likes in the channel. Always. And more comments too. Keep the comments coming. remind everyone, sanding is also a cutting tool. Yes, it is, and that's why I'm changing my sanding patch again. I'm trying to get a nice surface on here on this end grain, and it's very, very tough end grain. Look at that. I'm getting stuff on there already. Well, the problem is it will embed. It'll get hot and it'll embed that gray into the wood instead of actually sanding it out of the wood. Getting there now. We're getting there. Trying to get a smooth surface. It's funny, I can actually see it. You can actually see it ball up on here. Now I'm not pressing into the wood. I'm just barely scraping over the surface. But I can see the wood fibers balling up in here. Now what's going to be interesting is watching this dry because it is such a wet wood still. I've got to make sure this doesn't crack. So this is going to be going into the microwave to try and steam out some more of the wood. We took a lot of wood out, so there's not a whole lot of wood to dry out. We went pretty thin. But take a little bit of that sharpness off the edge there. Okay. Boy, I keep getting as I sand it, it keeps building up. Some of the stuff on here. But we're getting there. We're getting there, folks. We're going to see the end results in a matter of a couple minutes here. Just stick with us. Smash that like button or double tap your screen. Give us a little love. That'd be nice. That'd be appreciated. Subscribe if you can. If you haven't subscribed already, so please subscribe to the channel. That way you'll know when we're doing these lives. It won't be a surprise. Make sure you're giving love to some of the other people that are on here. Mike at Wacky Shack 77 Rockets, Mike Wilson, and he's in there. Soldier Farms, Moyak Scorpion. He has a few things he posted up, not much, but just a little. And if you guys want to put your channel up there on the comment section, go right ahead and do that, so everybody can see where your channel is too. I'm okay with sharing the limelight here. That's how we grow the whole group, right? That's how we grow our group. And I'm really trying hard to make this into a community here of people that want to learn how to do some different wood turnings. And I'm hoping in the future a couple of you will actually volunteer to come on the show. We can maybe do a duel or a dual live or something like that, or just kind of sit around and talk wood turning or do whatever you want to do. But that would be my ultimate goal, is not just sitting here turning holes for you all the time, pointing out different ways of doing things, but also to get to know each other a little bit, where you got a wide community. I got people watching from all over the world. And we hear from them. Right now it's late evening in Europe. I don't know if it should be good oven or good nachmittag at this point. I guess probably nachmittag. It's getting pretty late, past 10, past 11 actually, in Germany. So meine Deutsche needs a little work. It needs to go. Needs to go. I could use a little work on that. We had Czechoslovakia in here the other day. We always have our friends from Scotland and England and places like that, and sometimes the Aussies will come in earlier. The next day, it's tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow in Australia. Probably not right now, but if we were a little bit later in the day here, it'd be morning over there. It's about 18 hours difference. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I'm going to go just to it because that was a 60 grit. I'm going to go up another grit just smooth out, shine it up just a little bit. It's just a real quick one. Yeah, this is looking much nicer on the outside. Okay, I think that's going to do it. I'm ready to pull the plug on that and just start putting the finish on now. You can learn. I can learn from anyone too. I never say that I know because I don't. I go to my wood turner meetings and I see some of these guys that are oh 20 years older than me in some cases, and I'm old. They're 20 years older than me and they're still learning new things and they're still doing the most dumb. These are guys that are in walkers, can't even stand up on their own hardly, can't drive anymore. But you put them in front of a lathe and set them down, and they make those beautiful things you never imagined. It's actually, it almost makes you want to go home and just throw your lathe out in the trash. But then you're also inspired that, well, if they can learn to do it, maybe I can do it too. I just need to practice a little more, you know? I need to take a few more chances. Really, you know, practice is just another term for having the guts to try something new. You know, because it's not really practice, it's having the guts to ruin a good piece of wood sometimes when you're learning how to do something. Too often I get a piece of wood that I think is really nice, and I don't want to screw it up because I think I can make some money off of it. And that's the wrong approach. Because if you're not willing to take chances with a piece of wood, you're not going to have something that's really special. And yes, you're going to lose pieces of wood. I can imagine Michelangelo or somebody with a big piece of marble worth, in our terms, probably a couple $1 million of marble, and knowing that if he just hits the chisel wrong once, he could lose the whole piece of marble and probably lose his job, his commission, maybe even his head. And yet, look what he created, right? You can't be afraid just because you're afraid that you're going to lose a piece of wood. You can't make yourself afraid like that because it inhibits your ability to do things too much when you do that to yourself. And yet, I still have to remind myself that all the time. Yeah. Okay, so let's put some finish. I'm going to go back to, now that I've got this done, I'm going to go back to our old beeswax here and just do beeswax and just see what we can get out of this. Now, this is Howard's weed. It's Howard's feed and wax, actually, not weed and feed. Although it might work for that. I don't know. So I'm going to put some on the inside and then I'll do the outside. Okay. And this is going to also show me where maybe I missed a couple places and I might have to go back and do a little spot sanding here and there. I don't know. It's possible. I can feel it as much as I can, but you can still sometimes you'll see things that you can't feel necessarily. Or maybe just going over it with a clean piece of sandpaper to take a little bit of the dirt out of it, because I think some of that right there is dirt. Maybe not. I don't know. There was a lot of spalting in this wood. So let me get the outside of it. Ugh. Get that edge right there. Make sure I'm not missing that. And then we'll come back around here. Yeah, that's looking better. Okay. That looks much better than it did earlier. And I'm going to show this to you in just a minute. You'll be able to see what it looks like too. But for those of you that are just in here, please hit that like button. And subscribe to the channel. Or even consider a membership if you're so inclined. You're not required to or anything, but it would be helpful if you would do that. There. Okay, so got that on. And let it soak for just a minute, and then I will wipe it off here. It's going to soak in pretty good, I think. Well, it's already soaked in here. It's completely gone. And it's already soaked in here. I can buff it a little bit, but it's not going to buff much. Now, that was just the first coat, but that'll give you the idea for this. Wow, it's really light now. So here's what it looks like. Try and bring it up to the camera here. This is the view that we have. And I'll probably put a gloss finish on this eventually, but I just wanted to put a little wax on it for now. I'm going to clean this out too, because I think some of this might be just dirty dirt in there. So I'm going to probably go back with a real fine sander and get some of that out of here. But I just think that came out pretty good. This was just a branch, and we just approached it in a different way. This held, I think, because of the CA glue I put down here. It's an ugly hole, and I may go back and just cut that off with a jam chuck. I can put a jam chuck here, turn this, and just kind of clean out the outer edge of that. I'm not sure yet, but regardless, I think that it's an interesting bowl. I love that, and we'll try and get this in the microwave a little bit so that it doesn't warp. There's not a whole lot here to warp. There's not a whole lot here holding moisture anymore, but we will microwave it in short increments of about 30 to 45 seconds. Let it sit in an open baggie for about an hour or two to steam out, and do it again. We'll just steam it a few times out that way, and that should stabilize this wood and keep it from cracking. And that's what I'm going to be watching in the next couple of days, is do I start getting cracks here and here. If I start getting cracks, this whole thing could just, basically end up being nothing at the end. But that's kind of what we were looking for. Okay. Tung oil creates a resin. Well, it does in a sense, yes. It's not a resin in the sense it hardens. It hardens inside the wood fibers. Okay. Shine juice is based on is based on using tung oil and some other ingredients. I've used a lot of different ones. This one is pure. Make sure you have pure tung oil, but this is pure tung oil mixed with limonene, which is an orange peel or lemon peel, for lack of a better phrase, which is also a cleaning agent. and then and a tiny bit of mineral oil, um, just because I want it to be able to soak in. But I use this a lot. It will give you a sheen. It will not give you a shine. Okay. If you want to shine, you're going to have to do so with something that has like a crystalline finish, like say uh, shellac. Shellac put on in thin layers will give you a pretty shiny coat after a time. The thing with beeswax or anything else is it needs to be reapplied relatively often, because once the beeswax dries, like it has here, this is what it's going to look like. It's not going to be a shiny finish. You can buff it out a little bit. You can add wax. Yeah, there's a lot of different waxes you can use. You can also use Mylans. If you use Mylans, it is a friction polish and it will shine. And Mylans has a whole lot of things in it, quite honestly. Um, you could also use, if the wood is hard and it already has a good finish on it, get some Meguiar's and use the Meguiar's on there, and it will cut and it will polish. But the problem with that is you got to be careful, because it will also go into any little nooks and crannies and you will not be able to get them out. So you have to have a really smooth finish if you're going to use something like that. Spray on shellac or lacquer can work. But again, you want to make sure that you have a clean finish. And I don't like this gray right here. I want to get some of that gray out of here before I finish the bowl. But got the shape I wanted. It's very light. I don't think it weighs 4 ounces now. And this was a big chunk of wood. Still not sure what it is. It does have spalting through it. It doesn't really look like birch necessarily. I'd be open to anybody trying to figure out what it is. It's not fir. It's very straight grained here. And spalted. It could be spalted pine, I suppose, but I don't know. Yes, pure tung oil is very different, and you do want to be careful when you're using it. But thin, put it on 2 coats. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is a really good finish because it goes into the wood. So the idea of tung oil is you put it on, you walk away from it. After about 20 minutes, you come wipe off any excess, let the rest go in. If it's still pooling, that means it's still sucking more in. So we put another coat on. When it stops sucking it in and it's just sitting on the surface, clean, buff it out, and you're pretty much done. And what that does is that hardens the wood fibers in here. It will keep it from cracking a little bit. But like I said, I just use beeswax right now because I'm going to be putting this in a microwave. It's probably going to cause that beeswax to come back out of this a little bit a couple times. I don't want it to be full of beeswax. And yeah, we'll dry it out and we'll see. In fact, let me just one more time see where we are in the moisture meter. See, we're at about 16% down here at the bottom, and 16% on the sides, and on the outside, about 15%. So yeah, it's about 16%. We are roughly at about 9% moisture in the air content right now. So it is not overly wet at this point. And yeah, I hope this has been helpful. Thank you, Rich, for adding some information there, and while I've been talking to, and I hope this answers a lot of you guys' questions. If anything else comes up, please let me know. Again, I thank all those people who hit the like button. I think we had like 60 likes today. Not really a showstopper. We usually get 100. And I thought for doing a bowl like this, we might get a little bit more, but hey, that's what it is. And I thank you all for being here today. We are going to be live Thursday. I do not have anything planned up yet because I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing an unboxing of some new products or if I'm going to be doing another bowl. But I will let you know on Thursday. But we have quite a few different things to choose from. So, is there anybody who have a request out there? Yeah, do you have any requests for what you'd like me to see on Thursday? Um, I'm open. I'm open to suggestions if you want. No, not seeing anything yet. So, well, at any rate, if you do have, something comes to mind, if you want to let me know, a lot of you know how to get in contact with me. But yeah, thanks for being here today. I really appreciate it, guys. Don't forget, Soldier has a live tomorrow at 5:45 Eastern time. So please make sure you check his live out tomorrow night. I will try to be there. I'm still dealing with my replacement uh, my water line that I had to have redone, replaced. I still haven't had the county or the city inspector out yet, so I still got a big hole in the ground at this. We'll talk to you guys all soon, and thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Talk to you later.